Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Geraci, and I'm back with some comics for my spinner rack. Marvel feature. It was a real odd mix of stories. It started off with the Defenders, then it went into Ant-Man, then it went into the Thing teaming up with the Hulk, and then the Thing teaming up with Iron Man, and then it got canceled, brought back later with Red Sonja. So I don't know. It was the 70s, you know. They had to keep producing stuff. At this time, Marvel was trying anything. They were still stinging from not just the 15 cents increase, but the 20 cents increase. There was one month when Marvel and DC decided to go to 25 cents, which would have like a 30-page news story in the front and then a reprint in the back. Well, it was, as someone had put it, Martin Goodwin's last dirty trick on DC. He only did it for a month, and Marvel went back to 20 cents as opposed to 25 cents. But DC's books were all 25 cents, and they were great. But DC kept at it for a year. But that was the point where Marvel exceeded sales at DC after all this time. So, just a little background there. I love that. Nobody but Gil Kane can do such a crazy contoured body, and it pretty much works, you know. It really does. This guy Paraman, I kind of like him, even though I don't know who designed him, but he looks like a Gil Kane design, but he didn't do the interiors. So Marvel's trying anything. They bring back lots of different stuff, and it was all short-lived after the fact. See, this came out. Yeah, it's January '73, so that meant it was September of '72. It's by some new guy named Craig Russell, as in P. Craig Russell, and then Dan Adkins, who's an inker. I don't know who Mark Kersey is, but he may be assistant to Dan Adkins at the time. Mike Friedrich was writing Iron Man, I think, about this time too. So it says filling in for Herb Trimpe, but Herb never came back. And but you know, that's the way comics goes. Now we get a chance to see this new guy in action. And Dan Adkins, make no mistake, as an inker, really elevated the art, as some inkers do for newcomers. So Hank Pym's trapped at his Ant-Man size, as is the Wasp. So it's a great idea. You know, they're basically stuck in a backyard. So I love that outfit. Now, this is a little bit absurdity here. Excuse me. In the second issue or the third, his Ant-Man costume got tattered up really bad, and so this gal named Trish Starr, who was he's the niece of Egghead, his enemy. He was without any clothes practically, and she was normal size. So she sewed him a new costume, which seems a little odd given the size disparity. I mean, that is the ultimate cosplay, I think. If you design a functioning costume on a 6-inch size being, that is beautiful there. Adkins rocking on those inks, cross hatching, and there's a little oddball. So there's Paraman. I like the little spikes on his legs. But it's a cool design. And the green and yellow. I don't know if they ever brought him back or not. And, oh yeah, Ant-Man had a nail at this time. He sort of became a sword, not sword and sorcery. He used the nail as a sword, like as a warrior. And, neat stuff, huh? I showed part of this in an episode on my other channel, just called Drew Geraci Comics, and it was under the title, Why Did Ant-Man / Giant Man Fail? But I just thought I'd focus on this one issue. It's extremely fun. And the other thing that's really sad about this, it's creepy, man. A monster wasp. We wouldn't revisit that until those god-awful Image style books that Mike Deodato and others did before Heroes Reborn, when right before the cancellation. Long story. So, although if you tell somebody it's a long story, it's already way too late. But it's fun, and the sad thing about it is you had like 3 or 4 issues that were regular issues. You had a fill-in reprint. One of these issues had a reprint from when the Wasp and Ant-Man first met, when they fought the Creature of Cosmos from Tales to Astonish. So it was a very early 70s thing. This book represents a lot of potential, but it just got cut short. Now, let's jump ahead a few decades to the Exiles. Beautiful cover by Jason Pearson, who we lost a few years ago, and possibly the worst way possible. Really interesting guy, just super talented, and I actually got to ink a few panels of his when he did a Savage Dragon miniseries early on in the Image era. So we got the cheesecake here. Malibu is using the money they got from Image Comics when they published Image Comics. And Image, Malibu got only 10% of the publishing royalties, and that's how much Image made. Was that they had money left over to publish their own Ultraverse line, which was like 8 books. So that's just crazy. Although the quality does shift wildly. There's some really great new artists, there's some shitty artists, and then there's ones in between. So got just some cheesecake there. R.R. Phipps, don't know who he is. I know Dave Simons is. I've praised him before, and his stuff here is more standard, and I think that's because the pencils are tight. This is the sort of thing I ran into also, like years later into my in my career. I was turning into a tracer, and I really hated that. I loved contributing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but so she's cosplaying as Jean Grey. That's Ghoul. He ended up in the Ultra Force. Yeah, that was a super team they made. Not to mention a really lame cartoon. With great artwork. I don't know where this guy went. Get an actual gun. It's not just a stick. There's a very image-looking guy. So there's this big battle. Not the generator. The fuel will explode. The damn explosion cuts him off. Things are getting worse. It's way too much to go into, but all that matters is in the first millisecond that follows, before the plasticine globe has even shattered, the energy escaping through the cracks guts the interior of the stronghold, consuming everything and everyone inside. This guy, he's flung from a sky bike in such a speed that the force snaps his neck. The second guy, he had a barrage of granite that he couldn't evade. And a couple more swept away by a thundering tsunami. The pounding waters deposit Deadeye face down on the rocky mainland beach. Catapult takes a brutal landing. He feels his pain in his spine, but only for an instant, then oblivion claims him. So what happens is, this is after Perez, this one page here for Joe Phillips, I think. Basically, they're all dead. The main characters are dead in their 4th issue. The story of the Exiles ends here. Amber's dark passages continue in Breakthrough. So here's all the books they had. Now, they kept all these books, but this is the final issue of Exiles. The characters who died in the issue are really dead forever. You'll never see them again, except perhaps the occasional flashbacks. Is Exile being canceled? No, it's just the same as a movie ends when the story is finished. None of the typical reasons a comic book published ceases publication, poor sales, and unavailability of an artist or writer apply. We simply reach the end of the story and stop. So they had in Diamond's preview catalog, I believe they actually said they were going to publish 5 and 6, solicited, that's the word. And they never did. It just ended like that, which was pretty cool. And I don't know how retailers felt about that, though, because the retailers' reaction to the premature ending to Walking Dead with issue 193, I think, really pissed off some of the retailers because it messed up some of their financial, what they set aside for what books, and just paperwork, and just, it's a great idea. It's just, the retailers aren't keen on that happening very much. So, I mean, I don't have to deal with it, so I'll take their word for it. In the meantime, I'll go back to reading Marvel 2-in-1, A Thing of Nick Fury. Oh my lord, I love this cover. It's Ron Wilson, inked by Frank Giacoya, I believe. And, man, 2 of my favorites. 2 cigar chompers. What's kind of odd, though, is his legs cut short right there. The things, but who cares? And you have the regular team. Marv Wolfman does the book for like a year. Ron Wilson, Pablo Marcos, who's everywhere, and he always does a great job. He's hanging out at this pizza place supposed to meet Nick and Dum Dum Dugan. And all kind of pizzas flying in the air. Back in the Silver Age, S.H.I.E.L.D. had a front that was a barber shop, and they went down in their chairs to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters proper. So there's a little play on that. And there's a lot going on here. It's really, really good. Well, I don't know why he's with a cigarillo there. Usually he has a stogie. I bring out a couple of greats. Mentallo and the Fixer, who are mostly known from Strange Tales issues that Nick Fury was in. I don't know a whole lot of their appearances between then and this era, 1976. But that's super badass. So much fun. Wow. That's supposed to mind control people or whatever, but right there, I think it would like just crush your skull. It's going to adhere to you like that. That's a great way to pose. Like, if you're having somebody doing nothing but sitting, but he's barking orders, that's just a great pose. So that's why it was my favorite book for so long. Also, the thing's just so darn lovable. And there's only 17 pages, so a lot happens in 17 pages, which is kind of cool. When Jim Shooter changed the books to 22 pages in 1980, that was excellent. That was really great. And you could still tell the whole story in 17 pages or 20 pages and not have to get a lot of books. But comics were more monthly oriented back then. They weren't like trade paperback oriented specifically. And maybe it's better that way. I don't know, because it's maybe it's a sign of the times. Anyway, that's pretty neat. Deathlock. Nifty, nifty, nifty. Also very nifty. This is really kick-ass. You may not even know about it. There is a mini-series of Dr. Fate by Jan DeMatteis and Keith Giffen. And this is a new cover, at the time new. It is a reprint of the backup feature in Flash Comics in the mid-70s. Walt Simonson did the first issue, and then a young Keith Giffen came along. So he really got to play around, and you can see he's going right into his... That's got a nice Lou Fine kind of line work to it. This is Larry Malstead, great inker. I don't know what happened to him. He's a great one. So Martin Pasco was the writer. I think, does it say reprint? Maybe it's, I don't know. I could be wrong. I can't believe it. No, I can't be wrong, can I? That's not possible. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's God Against God when Dr. Fate battles the Aztec deity Totec. There we go. Okay. All right. My accuracy is intact as far as this is concerned. So there's a lot crammed in here, but it's terrific fun. It was on Baxter paper. At the time, Marvel and DC were really, really putting out a lot of great Baxter paper reprints. Wow, how about that? DC had Neil Adams' Green Lantern, Green Arrow. They did a whole bunch of other books, and Marvel did a ton of them. Yeah. I really recommend it. It's really kick-ass. Kick-ass. Here I'm staring down a barrel of 60 years old, and I still say kick-ass. So, issue 40 of beautiful cover, for one thing. I think that's Al Milgrom. Probably. That sort of suggests it. It's a little hard to tell. What really makes this special is Al McWilliams is inking it. He is a penciler and artist, and this late in his career he was just inking, and he's got a terrific fine line. Steve Englehart and Al Milgrom actually co-plotted the books together, and it was a bi-monthly book, so that Milgrom was doing the opposite months. He was doing Guardians of the Galaxy, and that didn't last long. Early Tom Warzakowski, but you'll see this and you're going to be like, is this Al Milgrom? But man, Al McWilliams is just beautiful. He did some stuff also for Atlas Comics, the 1975 version that Martin Goodwin started up despite Marvel. I like this a lot. They were in the negative zone for years and years, both Rick and Captain Marvel, Rick Jones. And they're finally separated. All they want to do is be free of each other. The truth is, they're good and glad to be single men again. They crave privacy, solitude, loneliness, anything but togetherness. And that's because it was when he was on Earth, Rick was over his shoulder talking to him. He was, they didn't have any thoughts that the other didn't have, and vice versa. When Rick was here, there'd be a floating, Captain Marvel face. So, how about that? Wow. This stuff puts me in mind of Bob McLeod, like what Bob McLeod would end up doing later on. Actually, probably at that time. Crazy Al Milgrom panel, I love it. So Rick Jones, he's a rock star, which is kind of silly, but this is marvelous. The 50s haircut, the 60s ballot, the 70s spacesuit. He's a Renaissance man of decadence, time warp. Bring back the black chick. It's like, you didn't listen, you hear what I was saying, you missed the whole point. All you want is a freak show. So, all right, I'm a freak show. How great is that? I'm like, oh man, get down. The Who already did it. So what happens is, Captain Marvel's one true love, Una, she dies, but she's possessed by that horrible green monster shown at the beginning of the book. And he's tormented because that's his unrequited love. Again, Al McWilliams bringing along his magic sauce. And he has to let her have it, unfortunately, because see how her eyes are bugging out? You lost your manhood here. You threw away our life together. For what? For these ungrateful, unripened humans, those billions of sample shells. And he's fighting his demon, who's taken her as a host body. And they're trying to escape her body. It's too late. And amazing storytelling here by Milgrom. The third panel there is heartbreaking. But Rick and Marvel realize they're not doing so great on their own, and they end up going to Pama, which is the Kree planet, by the way. Ralph Macchio, yes, the fabled Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio, who would end up being an executive editor at Marvel for almost 50 years now. He's a very interesting character. Not character, I don't know exactly what Ralph Macchio does, and I'm not saying that in a dismissive way. I'm just saying I would love to read an interview with him, but I think he's just someone who keeps it all together in the sidelines. Just he eschews the spotlight. I would hoping I got eschews outright. So I'll be having some more soon, and then check out my other channel called Drew Dracy Comics. I got a lot of wacky stuff there. Tell me what you've seen. If I showed you something new, have you learned something new, or if you have something you can correct me on, that'd be fine too. So hey, I'm all about conversation. I don't delete any comments, and I just enjoy hearing what fans like myself are into. So talk to you later. Anyway, take care, everybody.